What's up, everybody? This is Cody, aka DFS Prodigy, coming to you live with Mr. Mallard, aka Andrew. I'm pretty excited about this video. We're breaking down Pebble Beach. It's a great course. With the Dustin Johnson news, we're going to have to make some key pivots. Ownership's going to be all over the place, and I'm ready to begin. How about you, my man?
Oh, I'm ready for this. Gonna live vicariously through these guys, get the nice water views while I'm sitting here in the snow. So let's get at it today.
Speaking of you, now we can see your face finally. So, yeah,
It's a whole new world for me, man.
right? It's a whole new experience. Start with the top with Patrick Cantley and Paul Casey. So the ownership is going to be definitely up there between the two. These are the two highest priced players. Who do you like more so between the two?
Yeah, I'm leaning. So I've been pretty split with these guys since we got the news that DJ was dropping out. So right now I'm leaning towards Cantlay a little bit here. I know he's a bit more expensive, but I think ownership's going to be a little bit less on him because of that high price tag. And since DJ dropped out, the ownership's going to be spread out a lot more around this top tier. So I'm going to go right to the top with Cantlay here. He looks good. He finished 11th here last year. I think he's a good guy to start your lineups around.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be between Cantley and Casey for me also. I'm not really getting to much Burger whatsoever. He's just a full-on fade in my opinion. I would rank it Cantley by a hair against Casey because we're used to seeing Casey down here in the like the 8K range, not more so 10,400. So the ownership I think is going to pivot to Patrick Cantley, which I'm going to eat that ownership up. And I'm taking Patrick Cantley up top. To be honest with you, if I wanted to fit in both guys with Casey and Cantley, that's definitely a bold strategy that you can try to do. But I'm basically going with starting my lineups with Cantley up top, fading Burger, and maybe getting some out of Paul Casey. But the top range is pretty much now settled for us with no Justin Johnson because that Johnson news basically made this top tier a whole new range now. So let's look at the 9K range. This 9K range is way bigger now than the 10K range. Talk to me about Zalatoris or Jordan Spieth.
Yeah, so Zalatoris is tempting just because he's been a pretty popular name this year. He's in pretty good form, but I'd rather drop down a little bit in price to go to Jordan Spieth. And I know he's a popular play just because he's a good feel good story right now. Back to the top of the leaderboard. I know he didn't win, but just to be there in contention this past week was fun to watch. So I think he'll be popular, but he's got great course history here, and I'm willing to ride that ownership and that recent form with Spieth this week if I can afford him.
Exactly. So the thing for me with Spieth is the mental game. We've seen the anxiety hit him here and there, but we saw with Max Homa, and look what Max Homa did on the turnaround. So if I think that Jordan Spieth can get his mental game in check a lot in this course, I think he can definitely be there. And I think the ownership is going to be all over the place on him. I think 1 minute it's going to be high and the 1 minute it's going to be low because of that basically the mental range for him. But at 9,700, I don't think you can go wrong with Jordan Spieth. I think he's ready to go on this course. I think this game is basically going to be a huge bounce back course for him. Personally, I'd rather take him than Jason Day. Jason Day is just the guy who gives out on me literally here and there. So I hate playing Jason Day. Are you getting to some Day or Siwoo Kim any?
I'm not getting to Siwoo Kim at all. Siwoo Kim's a full fade for me. Jason Day's tempting. I know we talked about it last week, and we talked a bit about it this week. Jason Day's his biggest concern with us is mainly his injuries. He's been a bit banged up. What's tempting about him is that this course is definitely a get right course for him. He's just for the past 5 years now, or 4 years. Form here is just great. It's the type of course where if he is battling some mental issues or some confidence because of the injuries, this is the type of course that he shows up at and feels comfortable and confident in. So he could definitely show up. At that price tag, though, I'd rather take the chance with Spieth with some of the same similar issues to not take the injury into factor there.
Exactly. Molinari, Fowler, and Burns are just not really guys I'm looking at. I'd rather pay down lower to a Cam Davis or Stillman, or I'd rather pay up for Jordan Spieth or Zalatoris. So I'm kind of just fading the last three guys in this 9K range personally. Are you fading all three of them before we head over to the 8K range?
Yeah, I'm leaning that way as well. I'm leaning fading there. And I mean, I think this next range, the 8K range, all the guys here. So, and we didn't really talk about this before. I'm gonna throw this out here, but if you really wanted to take a contrarian approach to GPP lineups this week, if you wanted to just fade the top completely and start your lineups with a Jordan Spieth and then fill in a bunch of 8K guys, I think there's some guys that if you hit it just right, you could have yourself a real winning formula there and a real edge on the field, because all it's going to take is one of Cantley or Casey to flop, and you're going to lap half the field.
So what you're saying is we need to start alliance with Phil Mickelson, basically. What you're saying.
Maybe not Mickelson, but
yeah. I think we both agree, starting in this 8K range, no Phil Mickelson for both of us. I mean, we know the history is there, but not this go round. It's not for me. 8,600 is not for me. Recent form, no. It's just I'm not giving to him whatsoever. I know it's gonna be a popular play no matter what because of the name value and the scores. Ownership is going to be there, but ownership is definitely not going to be in our lineups whatsoever. Basically, before we dig into that 8K range, though, I want to talk about Cam Davis. He's a young guy who's the ball striking's there for him. I don't mind getting to Spieth and Cam Davis basically starting out your lineups. Like you said, if you want to be contrarian, take 2 9K guys. I would definitely don't blame you for going that route at all. But talk to me about starting off with this 8K range with Stillman, Homa, and guys like that.
Yeah, Streelman is quite simply my top ranked guy this week. When I broke down the numbers and Streelman came out on top ahead of both Cantley and Casey. So Streelman this week, I think he's going to be a bit popular. He's not. It's no secret that he's got good history here. He's finished top 5. He's a guy who's just coming in good form out of them last week. And I don't mind with Streelman as a core piece of my lineups for sure.
Exactly. So speaking of mentalities, Max Homa, like I said, turned it around last week. I don't mind going to Max Homa at all. At that price tag of 8,800, he can definitely get it done for you on this course. The bounce back game is there for him. I'd rather much get to him than Henrik Norlander or Phil Mickelson. So like you said, let's go GPP contrarian route. Start off with Spieth, Streelman, and Homa. I wouldn't mind that balanced build whatsoever, starting with 3 pieces right there. But like I said, Max Homa is definitely in play, in my opinion. So is Streelman, like you were saying. I'm fading Norlander. I'm fading Mickelson. Talk to me about this Noren, Steele, Tringali kind of startup for me.
Yeah, I'm on Tringali again. I know we both liked him last week as a nice cheap kind of throw at the dartboard, and this week he's priced up a bit more, but deservingly so. He's in good form, good ball strike, and good greens and regulation. I think he's going to still go under owned here, so I think he's still going to hit your value and give you an edge on the field. Same thing with Noren. This is just a course that he does pretty decent at. He finished 32 here last year, and I know his form is not in the greatest, so I think that's going to drive his ownership down. But he's a guy who is, when he's dialed in, he's going to attack this. This course is set up perfectly for him to attack it. And he plays some on the Euro Tour, so I think some people forget about him as well. So I don't mind going Tringali and Noren here from this range.
Yeah, I don't mind going to Brandon Steele, like you were saying, whatsoever. The recent form has been there. The iron play is there. I definitely like him at the 8,400 price tag, similar to Neesmith. The irons have been there. The ball striking's there, plus recent form. If you want to go Neesmith, Steele, I don't mind going to them whatsoever in this 8K range. I think we both agree we're fading Harman, Jones, Hahn. I'm not really getting to any of those 3 guys. Are you at all?
Excuse me. No, not really. I agree with you on Nesmith or Neesmith, however you say his last name, but his form is too good right there. He ranks out quite well for me, so I'll definitely be getting to him. But those other 3, I'm staying away from for the most part. There's other guys a bit lower that I'd rather catch some value on.
Most definitely. So starting in the 7K range, from first glance, 7,700 for HV3 Harold Varner is way too underpriced in my opinion. That price tag is a steal.
Yes.
I'm definitely getting to him at this price tag. I don't think you can go wrong at his price tag whatsoever. I definitely find him as a 7K core piece of mine, definitely in this range. Another guy I do like is RCB. RCB, we haven't seen him play. He's been in the Euro Tour, which he's still decent there. People are going to basically not want to play him because he hasn't played in a while, but he actually has. He's been, like I said, in the Euro Tour. So if you want to get the RCB, get you some Harold Varner to start off with the 7K range, I wouldn't blame you whatsoever. Just talk to me about this upper 7K range.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Varner he's just been playing so well, especially, if you're going to be playing showdown lineups, I'd say you can run with Varner pretty securely at that price point. And I think a lot of people will stay away from him with that miscut here last year as being his only showing at this course. But when you look at other West Coast swing courses, he tends to show up with his ball striking and his putting there. So I'm definitely on Varner. RCB, I agree with you 100% with the Euro Tour and him being overlooked here. I think people forget the run last year the year before, sorry, in 2019. He went on a pretty impressive run. People were talking about him winning multiple majors. So I think we can't forget about how skillful of a golfer he is. And just because we haven't seen him doesn't mean he's not going to show up this week. So I definitely think I'm with you there at that price tag. It's too good.
Exactly. So Nick Taylor, what do you think of Nick Taylor at his ownership? Because I think the ownership is going to be low, but he's kind of iffy in my opinion. What do you think of him?
Yeah, for a defending champion, the fact that his ownership is expected to be under 5% is pretty surprising. It's pretty nice also to have him down at only 7,600. So I like him for his course history and similar courses. Fact of the matter is he's playing very spotty golf right now.
Exactly.
He's coming through best. He's coming through best in the stat of scrambling, which is a good sign and also not a very good sign because that means he's not hitting his fairways. He's finding himself all over the golf course and he's making it work, but you can only trust that for so long.
Exactly. So another guy I wanted to talk about is Ches Reavie. The recent form has been there. I don't mind getting to him. I think he'll be overlooked in this price range at 7,500. I don't mind taking a few shots at him whatsoever. But the main guy I did want to talk about is Kyle Stanley, like I talked to you earlier about before the video. I mean, I told you why. Tell me why I don't need to play Kyle Stanley at this price tag. And you couldn't give me a good reason why not to. I mean, the recent form's there, the iron plays there, ball striking's all there for him. This guy is hot, and 7,400 is a steal in my opinion, just like HV3. I love Kyle Stanley at this price tag, man.
Yeah, the only way Stanley doesn't pan out for you this week, I think, is if he just consistently leaves himself with 40-foot putts, because I think he's going to have a real shot at and dropping in some 3 putts in those situations and getting some surprise bogeys. So I think that's really the only scenario. If his approach game is just slightly off and he's just catching the bad breaks in the greens, then I think it's going to be an uphill battle for him. But other than that, for $7,400, he's just way too good of a value down here. I 100% agree. I think he's going to be one of the guys I'm going to be playing the most through all my lineups.
Exactly. Do you like anybody else in this lower kind of 7K range? I know we both like Scott Piercy to a point. I don't mind getting to some him. What do you think of any of these other guys? I know you liked a couple here and there.
Yeah, I'm with you with Scott Piercy. He ranked out real well for me, top 10 guy in my rankings this week. The form's there, the course history's there for sure. So I like Piercy. I think his ownership will be low as well. One guy that I'm going to be putting into my core though here is Ryan Moore. I think his ownership's going to be low. I think people hear the name Ryan Moore and they just think, blah, what's he going to do? He's just an everyday golfer. But I like him here. He doesn't really have any course history here, but when you look at similar courses to Pebble Beach and Spyglass, he ranks out top 5 in 5 of my key stats this week. His recent form has been pretty good too. So I like his ball striking for this course, and I'm going to take some shots with Ryan Moore this week for sure.
Exactly. I wouldn't mind getting to him whatsoever either. I like Scott Piercy, even though recent form has been awful. I don't mind getting to him in this bounce back course. I think this will be a good bounce back, like I said, course for him. Certainly. Mm-hmm. I know you liked another few other guys down here in the lower 6K range. What do you like down here before we wrap this video up, my man?
Yeah, the main guy I'm going to mention in the lower 6K range is strictly a GPP shot in the dark here. But Chris Baker, when I put all the stats together, he came out ranked in my top 10, which is definitely a long shot. It might be an anomaly, but Chris Baker at 6,200 for a guy who comes in ranked top 20 in all my key stats for the most part in similar courses to Pebble Beach here, and with a 38th finish here last year. Seems like at 6,200 is way too much value to miss taking a shot on here. So it's definitely a GPP play, but the fact that you can get Chris Baker at 6,200 means you might have a chance at getting both K and Cantlay and I've been forgetting Casey. Thank you for forgetting his name all night. Cantlay and Casey in the same lineup, which could be a very interesting edge if no one else thinks to do that.
Exactly, man. Do you have any last closing thoughts before we head out of here?
No, I'm good. Thank you guys for listening, and definitely stay tuned and check us out next week if you still liked us.
Most definitely, my man. This course seems to be a pretty good fit. I think we're both agreeing on this. The ownership is going to be everywhere. It's going to be more of like a balanced build, in my opinion, than more kind of a stars or scrubs. I'd rather pay up. I'd rather pay in this 8K range for guys, and then maybe a couple here and there in the 9K range. I'm not really getting to much of the 7Ks, really. But there's a couple of 7Ks that are definitely locks, in my opinion. But yeah, I think this course is going to be more balanced. I'm pretty excited to see how this goes. And stay tuned for next week, fellas. Do you have any last closing thoughts, my man? Before we
Yes,
get
thank you. Thanks for having me again, man.
Have a good one, my man.
Oh, no, I'm okay.